I slammed the truck door shut, the rumble of the highway still buzzing in my bones. 3 days hauling freight cross-state, and all I could think about was home, Stacy's smile, Tony's goofy laugh, Ashley's latest school story. The porch light glowed faint in the dusk, a beacon in our sleepy little town where everyone knew your business before you did. I hefted my duffel, grinning like a fool, picturing their faces when I walked in early. The door creaked open, and there she was, Stacy, framed in the kitchen light, stirring something on the stove. "Rob!" Her voice hitched, too high, too sweet. She spun around, her apron twisted tight in her hands, fingers twitching like she'd been caught mid-crime. "You're back early." "Yeah, got ahead of schedule," I said, dropping my bag. "Missed you guys." I stepped closer, expecting her usual hug, but she flinched, just a flicker, barely there. Her smile stretched thin, eyes darting to the clock. "Oh, great. You must be beat. Want coffee?" "Later," I said, frowning. Something was off. She kept twisting that apron, her knuckles white, like she was strangling it. "Kids around. At a sleepover," she chirped too fast. "Last-minute thing. You know how they are." Her laugh grated, forced, and she turned back to the stove, shoulders stiff. I nodded, brushing it off, tired brain playing tricks, right? She was just surprised. I was home. Everything was fine, but it wasn't. That night, she hovered, refilling my water, asking about the road, her chatter relentless like she was stalling. "You heading out tomorrow?" she asked, casual, but her eyes begged me to say yes. "Yeah, early," I lied, testing her. She relaxed, just a hair, and that's when it hit me, her first slip. She wanted me gone. I lay awake, her breathing steady beside me, but my gut churned. The house felt wrong, too quiet, too still. A stranger's cologne lingered in the air, faint but sharp, not mine. I stared at the ceiling. Stacy's twitchy hands burned into my skull. She'd never been this jumpy. Never. Tomorrow, I'd hit the road again, or so she thought. But that cologne, that fake warmth, it gnawed at me. Something was rotting under this roof, and I'd be damned if I didn't find out what. Morning hit like a sledgehammer, gray light seeping through the blinds, Stacy already up, buzzing around the kitchen like a bee on edge. I stumbled in, coffee mug in hand, still chewing on last night's weirdness. She flashed that syrupy smile, too wide, too eager. "Sleep okay, hon?" she asked, flipping pancakes she hadn't made in months. Her hands trembled, spatula scraping the pan loud enough to grate my nerves. "Yeah," I muttered, watching her. She wouldn't meet my eyes, kept fussing with the stove, her apron strings knotted tight. "You're chipper today." "Just glad you're home," she said, but her voice cracked, and she coughed to cover it. "When's your next run?" There it was again, that hunger for me to leave, sharp as a blade in her tone. I sipped my coffee, slow, testing her. "Couple hours. Short haul upstate." Her shoulders dropped, just a flicker of relief, but I caught it. "Good," she said, too quick. "Road's been lonely without you, huh?" She laughed, shrill, and turned to plate the pancakes, her back a wall. Lonely? She didn't sound lonely. She sounded desperate. I packed my duffel slow, eyes on her every move. She darted to the sink, scrubbing a spotless dish, then checked her phone, screen down, notifications off. Kids still at the sleepover. I asked casual. She froze, just a beat, then nodded. "Yeah, speaking aplatia. They'll miss you, though." Her lie hung heavy, and that cologne hit me again, faint, clinging to her sweater. My stomach twisted. Tony and Ashley loved sleepovers, sure, but 2 nights in a row? In this town, where gossip flew faster than crows. "Tell 'em I'll bring goodies next time," I said, zipping my bag. She nodded, ushering me to the door, practically shoving me out. "Drive safe, Rob," she called, her wave stiff, eyes glued to my truck. I climbed in, engine growling to life, and peeled out, her silhouette shrinking in the rear view. She didn't move, stood there, watching like a guard making sure the prisoner was gone. Halfway down the highway, her relief burned in my brain. That fake warmth, those twitchy hands, she wasn't glad I was home. She was counting the minutes till I left. My knuckles whitened on the wheel. "I'll be back soon, Stacy. Real soon." And whatever she was hiding, I'd rip it wide open. The highway stretched endless, a gray ribbon under a sky spitting rain. I'd been hauling lumber for 6 hours, Stacy's twitchy hands still clawing at my thoughts. Her fake smile, that cologne, something was festering back home, and I couldn't shake it. The truck's rumble kept me steady, a beast I could trust, unlike her. Then it happened, sharp, brutal like a gunshot. The engine coughed, smoke billowed from the hood, and the whole rig shuddered to a stop on the shoulder. I cursed under my breath, popping the hood. Black fumes stung my eyes, oil leaking like blood from a busted hose. I radioed the shop. "Weeks wait for parts," they said. "Book a motel," the dispatcher grunted. "You're stuck." Stuck? No way. Tony's grin, Ashley's hugs. I hadn't seen them in days, and Stacy's weirdness lit a fire in me. I wasn't waiting a week to figure out what she was hiding. I hitched a ride to a gas station, rain soaking my jacket, and rented a beat-up sedan from a greasy clerk. "Headed home?" he asked, smirking. "Yeah," I said, "gonna surprise the family." His laugh stuck with me, too knowing for this nowhere town. I shook it off, hitting the store next door. Chocolate bars for Tony, a glittery notebook for Ashley, flowers for Stacy. Dumb hope still flickering in me. Maybe I'd read her wrong. Maybe she'd light up when I walked in. The drive back was a blur, wipers slapping rain, my heart pounding with every mile. I'd been gone a day, but it felt like years. The kids deserve this, me bursting in, arms full, their squeals wiping out the road's grind. Stacy, too, if she dropped that act. I gripped the wheel, picturing it. Tony tackling my legs, Ashley scribbling in her book, Stacy's arms around me. A family again. Our street loomed up, quiet and dark, the house hunched under dripping trees. No lights. Odd for 8 p.m. sleepover, sure, but Stacy hated the dark. I park a block away, grab the bags, and jog through the rain, grinning like an idiot. Surprise, guys. Daddy's home. The porch steps creaked under my boots, key trembling in my hand. One turn of the lock, and I'd know. Either I was a paranoid fool, or something was about to shatter. I pushed the door open, ready for joy. I got hell instead. The house swallowed me whole, dark, silent, the air thick with something sour. I kicked off my boots, bags crinkling in my hands. Chocolate for Tony, notebook for Ashley, flowers drooping from the rain. "Stacy," I called, voice bouncing off the walls. Nothing. No kids giggling, no TV hum. My chest tightened, but I shoved it down. Sleepover, sure. She's probably napping. I'd wake her with a grin, watch her laugh at my soggy surprise. I climbed the stairs, steps creaking under me, the quiet pressing harder. Our bedroom door was ajar, a sliver of lamplight spilling out. I pushed it open, flowers raised like a fool's trophy, and froze. Stacy, tangled in our sheets, her bare back arched against a man I knew too well. Jack, my brother. His arms slung over her, her hair spilling across his chest, their breaths synced in lazy sleep. The bag slipped from my hands, candy and notebook hitting the floor with a dull thud. "Stacy." My roar ripped the air apart. She jolted awake, eyes wide, a scream catching in her throat. Jack scrambled up, sheets sliding off him, his face pale as death. "Rob." "Holy wait," he stammered, hands out like I'd listen. Stacy yanked the blanket to her chest, her fake warmth gone, replaced by raw panic. "Rob, I can explain," she choked, voice shaking. "Explain." I lunged, flowers crushing under my boot, fists clenched to keep from smashing his skull. "My brother?" In my bed, my voice broke, rage and pain clawing out. She shrank back, Jack between us, his excuses a blur. "It just happened, man, I swear." Lies. Her eyes darted to the door, legs twitching like a cornered animal's. "You filthy traitor," I snarled at her, then him. "Both of you." She bolted, shoving past me, bare feet slapping the hardwood as she fled downstairs. Jack grabbed his jeans, muttering garbage. "We didn't mean it, Rob." But I shoved him hard, his back slamming the wall. "Get out before I break you," I hissed. He ran, half-dressed, chasing her into the night. I stood there, flowers mangled, their stink mixing with his cologne, same stench I'd caught before. My world imploded. Wife, brother, 10 years gone. I sank to my knees, the room spinning, her betrayal a blade in my gut. But this wasn't the end. They'd pay. Oh, they'd pay. I didn't sleep. The bed stank of them, Stacy and Jack, mocking me from the sheets I'd paid for. I tore them off, hurled them into the trash, my hands shaking with rage so thick I could choke on it. Dawn crept in, gray and cold, but inside me burned a furnace. They'd run off into the night. Cowards, but this town was too small to hide. Everyone would know soon enough. That was just the start. I stormed to the kitchen, coffee cold, her lies still echoing. Sleepover drive safe. My kids, Tony and Ashley, weren't at a friend's. She'd dumped them somewhere to roll around with my brother. I dialed her cell, straight to voicemail. Jack's too. Scum didn't even have the guts to face me. Fine. They'd feel me without a word. First, the money. Stacy handled our savings, her gift to me since I was always on the road. Big mistake. I logged into the bank. Her password, still Tony's birthday. Dumb, predictable. 10 grand sat there, our cushion for emergencies. Not hers anymore. I drained it, wired every cent to a new account she'd never touch. Joint credit cards? Canceled. Her car lease? Reported overdue. Let her scramble for that payment. The phone rang. My sister, Lisa, who'd picked up the kids last night. Rob, what's going on? Stacy said you'd be gone a week. Her voice tightened. The kids are asking for her. I gripped the counter, knuckles white. She's a liar, Lisa. Keep them safe. I'll explain later. I hung up, fury boiling over. She'd used my trust, my family, to cover her filth. Jack's betrayal cut deeper. My own blood, grinning at barbecues, borrowing my tools, now stabbing me in the back. He lived off odd jobs, mooching when cash ran dry. Not anymore. I called his landlord small-town perk, knowing everyone. Jack's behind on rent, I said, voice ice. Might want to check his place. A lie, but it'd spark eviction talks. Good luck, brother. I leaned back, chest heaving, the house a graveyard of our life. She'd built her castle on my dime. Now I'd burn it down. Stacy wanted freedom? She'd get it, penniless, exposed, alone. But this was just the warm-up. The real blow was coming, and she'd never see it. Not until it crushed her. Midday sun glared through the blinds, but I didn't feel it. Rage kept me warm. Stacy and Jack were ghosts, vanished after last night's sprint, leaving me to stew in their wreckage. My phone buzzed. Text from Lisa. Kids are fine. Stacy called, sounded frantic. What's happening? I didn't reply. Let her sweat. She'd figure out soon enough her cozy life was cinders. I hit the bank again, digging deeper. Our joint account was empty now, but her personal credit card, her emergency stash, still had a pulse. I called the company, voice flat. Lost my wife's card. Cancel it. They didn't ask twice. Click gone. She'd be stranded. No gas, no groceries, nothing. Her car payment bounced this morning. Repossession was days away. I smirked, imagining her face when the tow truck rolled up. This town thrived on whispers, and I'd make him roar. I drove to the diner, hub of every rumor, and slid into a booth. Old man Pete, the mechanic, waved. Heard you back early, Rob. I leaned in low. Yeah, caught Stacy with Jack. My brother. In my bed. His jaw dropped, coffee sloshing. No kidding. By noon, the story would hit every porch. Stacy, the cheating snake, and Jack, the backstabbing leech. Good. Let him squirm under the stairs. Jack's next. I called his buddy Tom, a contractor who threw him gigs. Jack's a mess, I said casual. Skipped out on me. Might flake on you. Tom grunted. Thanks for the heads up. One call, and Jack's last lifeline snapped. No jobbies, no gente, no mercy. I'd bury him in the gutter he crawled from. Evening fell, and Lisa dropped off Tony and Ashley. They barreled in, hugging me tight. Where's Mommy? Tony asked, eyes big. Ashley frowned, clutching her stuffed bear. She's busy, guys, I said, throat tight. You're with me now. They nodded, trusting, and my heart split. Stacy didn't deserve them. I tucked them in, their soft snores calming me, but not enough. My phone lit up. Stacy, finally. Rob, we need to talk, she shrieked, voice cracking. You're ruining everything. I hung up, teeth grit. Ruining her? She'd torched us first. The hammer was mid-swing, and I wasn't stopping. Not until she was broke, shamed, and begging. Even then, I might not listen. Morning hit hard. Tony's giggles and Ashley's chatter pulled me from the couch where I'd crashed. Stacy's call last night, "You're ruining everything," rang in my skull, her panic fueling me. She'd started this war. I'd finish it. The kids ate cereal, oblivious while I dialed my lawyer. Sam, gruff guy, hated losing. "Divorce now," I said. "She cheated with my brother. I want everything, kids, house, all of it." Sam grunted, "Got proof." I sent the bank logs. Diner whispers already buzzing like wildfire. She showed up at noon, banging on the door, hair wild, eyes red. "Open up, Rob," she yelled, voice shrill enough to wake the dead. I cracked it, keeping the chain on. "What?" Ashley peeked from the stairs, Tony behind her, and I waved them back. "Go play, guys." Stacy glared, fists balled. "You froze my cards." "My car's gone. What's your problem?" "My problem." I snarled, yanking the chain off, door slamming wide. "You slept with Jack in our bed, you lying." I bit off the word, "Kid's too close." She shoved past me, storming in. "I deserve something. You can't just cut me off." Her warmth was gone. Mask shredded, just a cornered beast now. "Deserve," I roared, towering over her. "You dumped our kids to cheat. You're done." She swung at me. Wild, sloppy, I caught her wrist, shoving her back. "Get out before I call the cops." Tony whimpered upstairs, Ashley shouting, "Stop it." My gut twisted. They shouldn't hear this. Stacy's eyes darted to them, and she switched gears, voice softening, fake as ever. "Mommy's sorry, babies. Daddy's being mean." She reached for them, but I stepped in front. "Don't you dare," I hissed. "You don't get to play that card." She froze, then bolted, out the door, screaming, "This isn't over, Rob. I'll take them." I slammed it shut, heart pounding, kids clinging to me. "She's mad," Ashley whispered, tears streaking. Tony hugged my leg, silent. "She's not taking you," I said, firm, but her threats sank claws deep. Sam called, papers filed, restraining order pending. "She's got no cash, no ground," he said. "We've got her." "Maybe." But her shriek, "I'll take them," echoed, a dagger in my spine. She'd fight dirty. I hugged Tony and Ashley tighter, their little hearts beating against mine. I'd burn her world to ash before she touched them. War was on. 2 days after her tantrum, Stacy was a shadow. Car gone. Accounts dead. Whispers choking her in this gossipy hole of a town. I didn't relent. Sam pushed the divorce hard. Restraining order locked, her supervised visits dangling by a thread. "She's broke," he said, voice smug. "No lawyer'll touch her now." I nodded, staring at the kids' drawings on the fridge, Tony's truck, Ashley's flowers. They were mine. She'd never rip them away. I hit her harder. Called the mortgage company. House was in my name, paid for my halls. "Foreclose her share," I said. "She's got no claim." They agreed. Her signature forged years back, sloppy and desperate. Next, her job. She freelanced at the local paper, small gig, big ego. I tipped off the editor, "Stacy's a cheat. Ask around." By lunch, her desk was cleared, fired, shamed, finished. Word spread like oil on water. Pete at the diner grinned. "She's toast, Rob." Jack too. Nobody's hiring that snake. I smirked, but it felt hollow. Tony asked last night, "Why's Mommy gone?" Ashley just hugged her bear tighter. I'd won battles, but their silence gutted me worse than her lies. Then she struck back. Evening, rain hammering the roof, Lisa called, panicked. Stacy showed up at my place, grabbed the kid from the yard. My blood turned to ice. "What?" I roared, grabbing my keys. She said it's her turn. She looked crazed, Rob. I sped to Jack's rat hole apartment. Town buzz pegged her there, tires screeching, rain blinding me. I kicked the door in, wood splintering. Stacy shrieked, clutching Tony and Ashley, Jack cowering behind her. "Get out," she screamed, eyes wild. Tony wailed, "Daddy." Ashley yanked free, running to me. I scooped her up, glaring at Stacy. "You're kidnapping them now? You're done." Jack lunged, fists up. I dodged, slamming him into the wall, his groans swallowed by the storm. "Take them." Stacy sobbed, shoving Tony at me, collapsing in a heap. "You win, you monster." I grabbed him, heart pounding, and hauled him to the truck, rain soaking us. She didn't follow, just cried, broken, Jack slinking away. I buckled the kids in, their whimpers cutting me raw. It's okay, I lied, voice shaking. She lost everything. Money, pride, power. But at what cost? The courthouse loomed, a squat brick beast under a bruised sky. 3 days since Stacy snatched the kids, her sobs still rattling my skull. You win, you monster. I hadn't slept, Tony's cries and Ashley's silence haunting me. Sam met me at the steps, tie crooked, eyes sharp. She's got nothing left, he said. Judge will bury her. I nodded, clutching the folder, bank logs, her firing, Lisa's affidavit about the kidnapping. Ironclad. Inside, Stacy slumped beside her public defender, a kid fresh out of law school, sweating through a suit. She wouldn't look at me. Hair stringy, clothes rumpled, a shell of the woman I'd loved. The judge, a grizzled guy with a voice like gravel, flipped through my evidence, brow furrowing. Adultery, financial fraud, child endangerment, he read, glaring at her. Anything to say, Mrs. Carter? She stood, trembling, voice a whisper. I just wanted my babies. Lies. Same fake warmth she'd fed me for years. Her lawyer stammered, she's under stress, Your Honor, but the judge cut him off. Stress doesn't excuse snatching kids. Sam laid out the rest. House foreclosed, her job gone, Jack evicted. She's unfit, he said. Sole custody to my client. The gavel slammed, divorce granted, me with full custody, her with supervised visits twice a month. No contact with Jack Carter, the judge added, eyeing her. She crumpled, a choked sob escaping, but I felt nothing, numb, cold, victorious. Sam clapped my shoulder. You crushed her, Rob. I forced a nod, walking out, her wail fading behind me. At home, Tony and Ashley clung to me, quieter now, their trust cracked. Mommy's not coming back. Tony asked, voice small. I hugged him tight. She'll see you sometimes, bud. You're with me. Ashley just stared, her bare limp in her arms. I'd save them, but the cost was their innocence, shredded by her greed, my wrath. Then her final jab hit. A note slid under my door that night, her scrawl shaky. You took everything. I'll make them hate you. My stomach dropped. She'd lost, but she'd plant poison, twist their hearts against me over years. I burned it in the sink, flames licking her words, but they stuck, sharp, festering. I'd won the war. Why did it feel like defeat? A week after the gavel fell, the house felt like a tomb, quiet, heavy, hollowed out. Tony and Ashley shuffled through their routines, cereal bowls clinking, crayons scratching paper. I'd won. Stacy was a broke disgrace, Jack a pariah, their affair a scandal this town wouldn't forget. My bank account was safe, the kids mine, her life a smoking ruin. I'd torch her world, just like I'd sworn. So why did my chest ache like I'd lost more than she had? Morning sun cut through the kitchen, catching Tony's truck drawing, lopsided proud. For you, Daddy, he said, grinning, gap-toothed and pure. Ashley slid hers next, a flower, petals drooping. Mommy liked these, she mumbled, eyes down. I pulled them close, their warmth the only thing pinning me to earth. You're enough, I whispered, but her note, I'll make them hate you, gnawed at me, a splinter I couldn't pull. I drove the kids to school, their chatter fading as we passed Jack's old place. Empty, windows dark. Stacy's supervised visit loomed tomorrow, 2 hours under a social worker's eye. She'd try her poison, I knew it. Those fake tears, that syrupy voice weaving lies into their heads. I gripped the wheel jaw tight. I'd gutted her, money, pride, freedom, but she'd left me with scars I couldn't burn away. Evening settled, rain tapping the roof like a clock running out. I stood at the sink, dishes piled, her notes ashes long washed down the drain. The cologne was gone, her laughter too. Just me and 2 kids who'd never know the family I'd fought for. I stepped outside, air cold, staring at the highway stretching into the dark. My truck was fixed, ready tomorrow, back to the road, back to hauling, back to something I could control. I'd avenged us. Stacy paid, Jack paid, justice slammed down hard. But satisfaction? That was a lie. I'd traded 10 years of trust for a victory that tasted like dust. Tony's giggle, Ashley's quiet, My anchors, my everything. Yet her betrayal had hollowed us all. The rain soaked me, headlights blurring in the distance. I won the fight, kept my kids, but lost home. Was it worth it? The road didn't answer.